What's going on, guys? It's Joseph William with the best damn arm wrestling sports show. Going to be joined by Reza and Scott Wen.
How you doing, bro?
Good, man. How are you?
Pretty good.
So, Joe,
Hey,
Right after last weekend, man, you did some good shit, dude. I was impressed with your performance this weekend, bro. Especially pulling at 150. You're about 100.
154 and 154, 176.
But what's your weight?
I weighed in at about 158.
Oh, so you were 158. Okay.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
little under 160.
Okay, so you normally walk around at that weight, or?
I do. I feel more comfortable at 160, 165. 165 is the heaviest I've been,
Mhm.
but I competing 154s as long as it's not too much of a cut. If there's a little clothing allowance, it's doable.
Yeah.
Just the fatigue sets in, and it's so 165s is primarily where I think I'm going to stay.
That's a good weight class. I mean, especially, 165. Typically now they're starting to incorporate a 176 class. Do you think you would ever potentially pull up to 176, or do you think you'll stay in that 65 to 54 class?
My goal inevitably is to be like around 180s, but it's
Okay.
with my height.
Yeah.
Kind of
You're gonna have 30 inch
180
biceps at 180, bro.
right. 180 can be 6'4", 6'5". So I mean, it kind of changes things a little bit for sure.
Yeah, the dynamic, the leverage, a lot of
Absolutely.
change. So
how long you been arm wrestling, Joe?
So I've been arm wrestling about 4 years. I started in April of 2020. Yeah, it was during COVID, and I found ArmBet naturally, right? And there's a guy, Tinder for arm wrestlers. You swipe and see who's in your area. There's a guy having a cookout, probably 5 minutes away from me. I went over there, and why I was like, I think I'll be pretty good at this. No, absolutely not. And it's been ever since, man.
and
Awesome.
how do you feel your progression has been over these last 4 years? Have you focused more on table time? Have you focused more on hands-on training? Obviously, you've gotten a lot better.
Yeah. So when I initially got into it, a lot of it was traveling. So I traveled everywhere I could in the state to as many different groups as I could, just to kind of find my niche and find where I was best at and learn from people that have been doing it longer. So obviously Dustin Allen, Eric Wolf, Edo. I think me and Edo actually got in around the same time, but Scott West was a huge guy for me. Um, Built about the same height, big inside puller guy. So he was kind of someone I gravitated towards. And the progression, it seemed within the first year, it came on pretty quickly. And I was doing things that could have gotten me hurt. Knock on wood, man. I've been good, but it's the first year, first 2 years, I seemed to progress pretty quick. I think I was number one in the state for my weight class around the first year.
That's good. That's pretty impressive.
Thank you.
That's at 154.
That was 154, yeah.
Very cool.
I think I was 149 at the time too.
So
Yeah,
when you started arm wrestling, what did you weigh?
probably 148 to 149. No more than 150. 150 on a good day, maybe. I just turned 18. What about that time?
Oh, damn. So you're still young, Bubba. You got
Yeah, I'm still.
a career ahead of you.
Were you
Yeah,
20,
man, 22.
22?
Yeah, 22.
Wow, right on, man. Hey, you got a long career ahead of you, son.
Thank you, man. I know arm wrestling's got a pretty good shelf life, and I'm here for it, man.
Yep.
How do you feel about like European pullers? Do you feel that you're ready for branching out to international competition, or do you want to kind of get more of a feel for national competition?
I would want to get more of a feel for. I know there's a lot of really good guys in the South. I haven't left too much of the West Coast, so Arizona, Texas, West Coast is kind of where I've been. I would want to branch out to more of the Southeast, and it always terrifies me. I always feel like I'm not good enough, or I'm going to get smoked within the second I get. It's weird, man. So it's always a little bit of a mental game as well.
I think you're ready.
Yeah, you know what? I'll say I'm not until I'm at the table, and then it all comes together. But
Well, you proved yourself this weekend, that's for sure. I don't think any of us doubted you. You probably doubted yourself more than we did, maybe,
yeah,
at the day of the tournament. But beating Vaskin was a huge notch on your belt for sure.
He was one of the guys I looked up to a lot, and I actually didn't know he was going to be there.
Oh, okay.
I had no idea Vazgen was going to be pulling maybe until the day before. And I remember talking to my girl. I was like, I'm screwed. Well, you know, this will be tough. And I've already lost to one Armenian, man. I couldn't let another one do it.
Right.
That's a strong bunch, man.
Yeah, Scott trains with most of those guys out in LA.
Yeah, they're incredible. David's another one, man. David, I got to get that one back and eventually, but
That's going to be a little tougher, I think, just because of his style. But yeah, that'd be a good one.
It reminds me of mine. He's not very offensive, but he's a very defensive hook, burn you out. He's very technical, very strong.
Yeah, he can be offensive. He's fast on the go when he wants to be.
Yeah.
He's more of those. He's more like a Varaj. Even myself, like he lets guys get in the match and then he fights through it and wins the match, you know.
He's incredible.
Yeah, he is.
It's funny, man, because he's got a little bit shorter levers than me, and it let me know how uncomfortable it was. I kind of felt for some of the guys I practiced with a little bit. I'm like, that is not fun.
You're like, that's how it feels. Damn.
Yeah, that's a different feel.
Yeah, definitely having that shorter lever gives you that ability to just kind of make that connection to the pad, you know.
Oh yeah, if you know how to work what you got, you're dangerous.
So you've been doing one-arm pull-ups. How long have you been capable of, you know, actually repping a one-arm pull-up?
I never trained for them. It's just something I've enjoyed doing pull-ups. And I think I was there with Eric and Edo, and they're like, "Hey man, hop up there." I was like, "Okay, pull-ups are feeling good that day," and I got a few one-armers.
Good. And
yeah,
then,
thanks, man.
Yeah, one-arm pull-ups I think are the staple. If you can do one-arm pull-ups, you're in the mid to high range pro class, in my opinion. Me and Scott have been talking about like how to rank athletes in the professional arm wrestling, you know, and I think the one-arm pull-up, in my opinion, is kind of a marker of how well you've actually conditioned yourself. And to be able to isolate after a few is actually a little bit of a bonus too, you know.
Yeah.
I'm a lot better at the 2-arm pull-ups. I can't quite get the 1-arm pull-ups.
Yeah,
you know, I think there's quite a few lifts that if someone can do with a good weight, that says a lot. And I know there's a lot of conversation to be said about as far as weightlifting and arm wrestling and table stuff. But I mean, if you can do the basics, how much can you pen? How much can you wrist curl, pronate, supinate? If you can do those with good numbers and you know how to put them together, it translates directly.
I agree with that.
Well, that's the key, right? It's the putting
Absolutely.
together the translation from
you have to know how to arm wrestle before you can start training to arm wrestle.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yep.
Now, was this a personal record, the 47 kilo pronation lift that you did at the time?
I have to see it. That was my first time doing those.
And what are you working now? Is it a similar weight or have you gone up on your max?
It's about around the similar weight, but I do them on the table and pulley now, so it's a little more specific to what I do. It's the same style, just on the table though, pulling back.
So now you're doing it from a straight out angle, or you're still doing it from a down angle?
So from a little down, just a little down.
So you're more here.
Yep, pulling
like down. Yeah.
Yep,
you're
exactly.
Engaging it more back. I think that translates a little more effectively to the table itself versus that's more just let's see what my brachialis and shoulder can do.
Absolutely, but those lifts were the hype at around that time, and I had to get in Caleb's head a little bit. So I was like, I'm going to throw one of these up there for good measure.
Yeah, when you pulled Caleb, how did you feel? Did you feel like he was did he have anything for you, or?
Caleb is very, very tricky. He's very fast, and all I had to work with was from the first time I pulled him at 2021 King of Cali, and he would just run away with my wrist, man. He took it every single time. But I always knew I had enough arm to go through him. But
when he was taking your hand away, was he going through the bottom?
Low hand top rolling. He was a fast low hand top roller, and he would just that bye with the wrist. Dragging him over wasn't an issue, but it was catching him and trying to pin him was. So everything that happened with that Yep.
Bottom fingers, dude. You control him. You can see he ain't getting nowhere out of your hand because you're just clamped down bottom of his hand. He tries to roll out. He releases those two lower fingers, which in my opinion is a huge mistake. Guys do it all the time. You know?
What I worked on the most was the low cut, the multi spinner. So that was I was doing that thing every other day. I wrote low hand top roll denier on it. I think I had Caleb's name beside it too. And that was, I knew to beat him, I'd have to be able to control his pronation.
Now, was there a weight difference between you guys when you pulled?
He was about 170, 175-ish. I think I was 158.
Yeah, so there was a weight difference,
158, 159. He came in a lot bigger, and he was noticeably bigger whenever he came in. I think I prepared really, really well for that match, and I was able to just watch videos. He's very active. There's a lot of videos on him. I was watching those every day, studying on my table every other day, and the match was pretty easy for me. Still, to take nothing away from Caleb, but I think I prepared and executed as best as I could have.
Yeah, it looked like he almost maintained more of a flat wrist position versus really coming in and getting that wrist flexion engaged.
So Caleb's got a really interesting setup. It's one of these, and by the time he stands up, he's almost got a little bit of wrist flexion engaged. So I've looked at those videos, slowed him down, and by the time they say go, he's already got a slight cup and some pronation. So I'm really just trying to hold flat wrist at that point. I mean, during the match, I did cup him in a few times, but off the go, I mean, his setup was phenomenal.
He's tall too. He's not a little dude. I think he's like 6 foot, 6'1".
Probably 6'1". He's got a big hand, a lot bigger than mine.
Yeah.
So he was just trying to stay high and come. And what I wanted to do with Caleb was come down, just come straight down on top of him.
I don't let him access the leverage of the length of his arm.
Exactly.
And how about Levi? You pulled him as well. It looks like a training match. How
it was. I felt pretty good. He had messaged me on Facebook, and he was in town for he's a personal trainer, so he was doing a big conference out here in downtown Phoenix. And he hit me up and he asked if I wanted to train. I was able to go. That was at the same gym I pulled Caleb at. He felt good. I felt pretty comfortable with him, although it is training. We were on the table for a good amount of time.
Damn, did I just see you pronate?
Yeah, man. I've been trying to work on my top roll a little bit.
There you go. Yeah, so out of Levi and Caleb, who did you feel a little bit more challenged by?
Stylistically, Caleb is more dangerous for me. Levi is more of an inside puller, and he's about my size, so he's maybe a little bit taller than me, around the same weight. So stylistically, I'd rather pull Levi. Caleb's very dangerous, but out of the two of them, who do I think would have the upper hand? Man, I think Caleb could sneak away. I do. I think Caleb, if he got him outside of his shoulder, he's dangerous.
Yeah. How about Vosgen? How did you approach Vosgen? Did you wanted to bang with him inside?
I did. I honestly had no idea kind of how he would arm wrestle or what he did. You told me he was fast, so I knew I had to prepare for that. And watching him with the others in the weight class, I just wanted to cut my wrist and go sideways. I mean, that was really where I felt like I was strongest with him. Man, I've watched this match quite a few times since. Right about there, I knew I was in.
Yeah.
You were in a real match?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You were in the match.
Yeah, Vosgen was really relying on his lat to sustain you.
He was trying to attack my bottom fingers too, so I slipped out of there. Ugly slip. I felt that.
And you wanted the straps, or he felt...
I did.
Yeah.
I wanted the straps, absolutely, yeah.
He's confident in the straps as well. So
he is.
He didn't want to be in them. He's okay. He's all right with being in the strap.
I prefer the straps as well. It's not too often I get to go to them in a tournament. But when I do, I definitely appreciate it.
with Vaskin, it's one of those things like you can see that you were able to come across the table and stop and hold him. And that's kind of his downfall. Like if you can stop him after he drags you across, he runs out of pad. He can't drag any further. You stop him there. If you're in a good position, you're in the match. And
Absolutely.
you did just that perfectly. Your
Thank you.
bicep strength obviously matches his, if not stronger. How did his
From
hand
the
feel when you gripped up?
how was his hand?
Yeah, how did it feel when you gripped up his hand?
It feels like a doctor's glove if you blow it up.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
got a very
Thick thumb
very
pad.
thick palm.
yeah.
He he's very quick. His back pressure was very good. I felt like I had to chase him
Yeah.
to the back of the pad. I knew I would run out of space at the front of the pad as well.
Yeah. That's definitely the key. One of the keys to beating him is being able to let him go to the back of the pad and still maintain position to stop him. And again,
Yeah.
you did just that perfectly.
Thank you.
But
I didn't have too much of a game plan going in against him. I knew it was going to be inside. I didn't know if he would try to top roll me or if he was going to high post or low hand. It seemed like he wanted to do more of a low hand drag.
I think he probably didn't want to go inside once he felt your ability to turn inside, and I think he was just trying to separate you as much as possible.
That got
Definitely.
really weird right there, huh?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, it did.
You guys were both pretty much flop wrist going sideways at the center of the table.
Mhm. What was weird, I felt really comfortable there and I felt like I could sit there and I looked over and I saw him. I saw he was struggling pretty good. I wanted to come up and try to do something, but I obviously elbow fouled there. But which I'm happy the match stopped there. I was worried about my wrist after it though.
What, you didn't think you were going to be able to cup him in on the last setup?
You're feeling tapped out.
The endurance was there, but he did take my wrist on that one. I think we both lost it.
You guys were both broken back a little bit, kind of going sideways on that.
Yeah.
Match.
There we go.
Yeah, he was literally because I was reffing this. He was literally like, I mean, like a cusp away from a pin off the initial surge, and he held you there for a second, but you were able to close it, which was very impressive that he was able to hold you in such a separated position. On Bosnia.
He's no joke. He's incredible.
So what are your goals for this next upcoming year for yourself? Who would you like to face if you were to like potentially get like a super match, or if you were to compete against somebody? What are like the top 3 guys you'd like to see yourself compete against in the United States?
Cody Wood obviously is one of them. Dalton Duncan is one of them as well. But he's 176, right? I think Dalton's 176.
76.
Yeah.
There's Dustin.
Dustin Hyatt?
Right. No.
No.
No, he's another 154. And Dustin. It'll come to me. Really anybody in that top 10, top 15, maybe even top 5. I'll pull them. It
You know
doesn't
who
matter.
Mike Hitt is? Michael Hitt?
In Texas.
Yeah. Yep.
You two would match up pretty good, I think.
I think so too.
Very similar in stature. Mike's got an insane bicep. He's strong. He's a good arm wrestler too. Yeah, that'd be a really good match. I'd love to see that match.
A lot of those guys, I was watching the Orange Bash they did, the round robin. A lot of those guys are all from around that area.
Yeah.
I believe, right?
Yeah.
That's it. So that's obviously the place to go for lightweight, middleweight competition, in my opinion. And in the US, it's the South.
Are you going to that nationals out there in Tennessee in November?
I don't know if I'll be
Or
able to.
December? It's actually in December.
If everything goes
After beating Vazgen, I think you could get a seat in that because it's capped out at 32 people per class. It's $100 buy-in, and you win $1,100 for first place. I think it places down to 5th place. and it's in December. It's a nationals. It's the beast mode arm wrestling with Lorray Jenkins.
Hmm.
But I would definitely inquire. I'll ask as well to see, because not everybody's like paid their money yet. So I think
Yeah.
those spots left.
Okay.
That'd be a good one. There's some good talent in that lineup, boy. Really good ones.
As crazy as it sounds, I would actually say the best match for you that I would like to see you pull is a guy from Italy named Thomas Mendaghi. He was a world.
Thomas.
Yeah, I pulled him, and he's really good. And I would say that once you get confident with the American platform, it'd be interesting to see you in a super match against him at 170.
Okay.
That would be like my recommendation. And I would almost even like say like if East versus West or anybody involved in the East versus West promotion could make that match happen, I would say skip the American platform, go straight to East versus West and go against someone like Thomas Mendaghi, because I think that you underestimate your capabilities, Bubba. I know that you probably need a little more time to truly develop that confidence and build that ability, but I already feel that you walking in with a 12-pound disadvantage against Vosgen and pulling two classes, and typically in the past, Vosgen would win like 4 classes, bro. He would go in at 154. He'd win like 154, 176, 198, and give like the 198 plus category guys like a challenge.
Yeah.
So if you're doing that with Vosgen, I think, and Vosgen's a multiple time world champion, I think that there's a lot of probability in you having a really successful exchange with some of the Europeans, and you just don't know it yet.
Yeah, and you know, I think you're absolutely right. It's just really getting out there and feeling those different arms. You know, it's not something I've had really the ability to do too much. I feel like there's a lot of steps I got to take here in the US as well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, if you like a peeing, you know what I mean? I like a peeing too. When I drink a lot of water, I gotta pee. But
Yeah.
there's plenty of Americans here
Oh
that
yeah.
you still need to conquer. The Europeans have come eventually. We're kind of, we're almost getting to that point where we're evening out the tables with the Europeans. So they're gonna need to start coming here like they are now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just
I think that's true in the heavier categories, Scott. I don't think that's true in the lighter categories.
The lightweight goats, the Europeans, I think, have it unlocked for a while. I know Hunter Knobs is coming up, and he's quick and he's fast. But they got the Daniel Probachuks, the Mendaugas. I mean, that's tough, man.
Yeah, exactly.
That is tough.
What do you think about Hunter Knobs and Doug Ehrlich? How do you predict that match occurring? Like, what do you see it? Who wins?
If Hunter gets to his spot, Hunter wins. If Doug takes his wrist and gets him on the losing side of if he gets Hunter on his losing side, I think Doug will beat him.
If you were to put $100 on the match, who would you put it on?
That's tough.
$20.
Because I haven't seen Hunter tested. No one in the 154s, even the 176, no one's taken his wrist. Nobody's really tested him. So there's not like yeah, I've seen obviously Doug went over and he pulled Daniel. But that's still the levels, and he did fairly well. So
I think, yeah, if it stays on a hook, Hunter wins. If the guy Hunter's going against, if he should somehow take his hand, then he might get the advantage. But I don't think he's going to be able to take Hunter's hand.
you don't think so?
No.
Have you pulled Hunter?
No, I haven't.
I haven't pulled him either.
Yeah. I know Carolina Chaos came out to the Arizona State before too, and I thought he was going to go. I think he was preparing for something else at the moment. I know Adam came out, Dylan Bibb came out.
Yeah.
Dylan Bibb's another guy, really strong. Not too known yet, but I think he will be.
Again, I'm gonna throw this out there, and you're
The
$100. No, I'm gonna say Doug Ehrlich wins, but I'm just gonna throw that out there from my perspective. But I think 154 Hunter versus 154 Joseph. 154 Joseph walks away with a W. As little as you may have the confidence in that statement, I think that you could beat Hunter at 154. Nobody may agree with me. Obviously, he's getting an opportunity at East versus West, but from what I've seen you do and communicating with you over the last few years, I think that you have the potential to surprise a lot of people in the next 2 years. And I think anyone who's watching this should just remember I said this right now.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
That's just me personally. I might be completely wrong. I might be completely accurate. I think I'm fairly accurate with a lot of my predictions. So your consistency will pay off.
Thank you, man. And you know what? Self-doubt and fear can do two things. It can motivate you to become incredible, or it can completely diminish you.
This is true.
And whatever you let it do is exactly what it'll do. I mean, every time I go up, there is nerves, there's adrenaline, there's fear, there's excitement, there's every little piece of emotion you can have, and you just pour it in arm wrestling. I mean, that's really it. That's it.
No, it's true, man. I never ever go up to the table thinking I'm gonna lose, no matter what. There's only been one occasion ever that I've done that, and it was a huge mistake, and it was against Todd Hutchings, believe it or not.
Wow.
I fared well. I did okay. Like on the go, we locked up, we both top rolled. He regripped, got over my index finger, and was able to get my hand, and then he beat me. But I went up there with the mentality thinking I can't win this match. There's no way. And I was in the match. Like I should have never thought that. And that's the only time I've done that.
I always pretended that I'm just not arm wrestling until I get on the table. It's like a fight dog. You put two fight dogs in front of each other and they turn on, but until they get there, they're totally calm and chill and relaxed. So I used to fight in the past. So
No.
you just pretend you're not fighting or you're not competing and you're not arm wrestling or whatever it is that you're doing that's challenging yourself. And then when you get to that table, you turn it on. That's me personally.
You know what, man?
In other words, he's got the switch.
Yeah. You remember to eat that day. You remember to drink a lot of water. You remember how you train, what you do.
Yep.
And that's it. I mean, if you prepared for it, if you got guys that can match similarly in practice, you just know that you've put in the work and you put in the training, and all the emotions are good. You should have them. I mean, arm wrestling is an incredible thing. It really is. And competition can bring out the best of us.
Now, how big is the group of guys that you're training with in Arizona? Is it a really big group of guys? Is it a smaller group?
So I go to a few different practices. A lot of times when I go to Eric's, there's probably like 4 to 5 guys there. Sometimes, I mean, if we're watching the East versus West, there's 20, 30. And then there's another group down by where I'm at. A few veterans, a lot of newer faces, which is great. So I'm able to help out with a lot of the younger people. A lot more young people are getting into it, which I'm super happy about.
Yeah.
A lot of high schoolers, which is cool to see. We had a kids group at this event. I mean,
yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before, at least here in Arizona. So that made me really happy. But usually the guys I train with about 5 to 6 guys. But most of what I do is every other day on the table and pulley. That's it.
Yes, sir.
I mean, for the most part, I train, I lock myself in the dungeon and I'll get to work. And the next time I go to practice, people are like, dude, what have you been doing? And
How are you with soreness? Do you get sore after the events?
Not too bad. I'm a little sore today, but not too bad at all.
That's good.
It really just depends on how many table times I kind of had before as well. I know contrary, people take a week off before an event. I take about 3 days.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I mean, I still try to get blood flow, like in the last 3 days prior to an event, just because I feel like if I don't, I'm shrinking and losing power. Just the way I feel.
I've tried a few programs where one of them you take a week, another one you take 2 weeks and you taper down. I've done another program where it's kind of similar to you, where I'll do a pyramid system with pull-ups, push-ups, and crunches all the way to the day of the tournament for the last week. And that actually has worked really well for me. For last week, like I'll do like 1 pull-up, 2 push-ups, 3 crunches, and then I'll go 2, 4, 6, 3, 6, 9, all the way up to 10, 20, 30, and then all the way back down to 1, 2, 3. And that's kind of like a blood flow movement that you're doing, but it's not arm wrestling specific. So you're giving tendons a little bit of time to heal. And as crazy as it sounds, that's worked really well for me as well.
Okay. I feel like it really varies from person to person. As long as there's no pain, stiffness, soreness, anything like that, a couple days before going into it. If there is, I always ice. I get the 5 gallon Home Depot bucket, go to Circle K, grab some ice, do that the night before an event. Whether I feel good or not, I just do it. Just like shaving my arms. Don't ask me why. I just do it.
Now, training, you said you train every other day. Are you focusing mostly on one aspect? What do you feel? Obviously, your hook is your strength. Are you focusing more on that, on your strength, or are you really kind of focusing on keeping it well-rounded?
So well-rounded. I mean, I work everything like a clock going around. So everything from, I just work hand in the beginning, then I do a little pinning, and then I'll work low hand multi-spinner cup. I'll drag because I have the pulley that kind of goes over from each side. So I'll move it over to the right side, work some side pressure in there, some supination, just kind of going all the way around and then putting things together once you actually arm wrestle, but just a little bit of everything. So the lifts we were talking about before, pulling back, I'll do a lot of that, a lot of static holds.
Then I guess going off topic, if you had a favorite arm wrestler, who would it be?
Daniel Propachuk, I think, would be my goat.
Yeah.
He's an inspiration. He's about my height, even a little bit shorter, and the things he's been able to accomplish and do at that size. And another one, obviously, Rustam Babayev. My height, but able to pull at those weight classes. That's what really inspires me a lot.
You ever see yourself going up to a 200+ class?
With a lot of sauce, I think anything's possible.
Yeah.
But it naturally 200 probably isn't.
The peak,
I don't know how I feel it. I think probably the most for me would be 180 to 190. Would be healthy, comfortable. Would probably work best for me. But
talking about sauce, since we're on that subject,
I've never been over 200 pounds in my whole entire life. Never took the scale at 200. So, and I've tried to put on weight, but like even right now, I got a gut, and I'm weighing like 192, 191.
How tall are you?
I'm like 5'10", barefooted.
5'10", okay.
Yeah,
I'm a hard gainer, man. It's hard for me to put on weight. Really hard. I want to, but it's tough.
The biggest I ever was about 178. So,
bigger than I've ever been.
Yeah, 178 was the biggest I ever was, and then typically I'm like 154, 145. So
okay.
Right now I'm like 143, 144.
You're a big 144, man.
He's a big dude. If you look at him from behind, he's got this little tiny waist, and his shoulders, he just spans out into a V.
Next year I'll come back out of the bushes like OJ and shock people, but for now I'll just remain in the bushes and no one will.
Lock yourself away and keep training.
Yeah, that's to do it, Bubba.
That's it, man.
I was wondering, I'm gonna throw some names at you. You're gonna give me the name in return that you believe is gonna win the match. East versus West 14. Okay?
Cool.
Ryan Ballinger, Raymond Coach Ray.
Ryan.
John Breida and Emmerich. Okay, Alexandra or Elizabeth Ray?
Elizabeth.
Travis or Corey West?
Love you, Travis, but Corey.
Paul Talbot or Varej?
Paul.
Matt Mask or Lars?
Lars.
Justin Bishop or Giannis?
Giannis.
Frank Lamparelli or Dave Chafee?
Dave.
Artem or Mendagas?
Mendagas.
Greg Tullier or Tom Holland?
Tom Holland.
Michael Todd or Camille?
Michael Todd.
Paul Lynn or Rustam Babayev?
I want to say Rustam.
That's what I said. Todd Hutchins or Prudnik?
Todd Hutchins.
Brzezinski or Leonidas?
I love you, John, but Leonidas.
John's in Arizona too.
I train with John.
Yeah, I know. Jerry Caderet or Alex Credecha.
Alex,
And the newest match added to the lineup, which has
Devin.
some hype, Devin and Chance. Obviously, you went with Devin. So, what do you
Yeah.
think about that match, the Devin and Chance shot? You think it's a hype match, or do you think that Chance really has proven something with that after pull?
I mean, I like Chance's odds. Chance is still incredible. I haven't seen him pull lately too much. I know Devin cut a crap ton of weight, so I don't know how much it's really going to affect him, but it's Devin. It's kind of hard to count him out. And I also think Devin's probably a big sandbagger. I don't think he really cares too much in practice or after pulls. Honestly, I think that come game day, that's a different guy. 100%. So I wouldn't take too much from the after pulls. It says a little bit for sure, but would I say that that's a definitive Chance is going to crush him? No. Is it likely? Honestly, that's the fun thing about arm wrestling. Anything can happen. We have no idea. All the names I threw out, I'm probably wrong about 80, 90% of them. And I have my reasons, but
Hey, Devin the other day, and with all of his abilities and knowledge in the sport, he indicated that he's only about 50-50 with his predictions that he's made thus far. So
yeah.
if Devin's 50-50, if you can get higher than that, either you're lucky or damn, you see something no one else sees.
No, and then that's the thing about arm wrestling. So as far as sports betting goes, man, it's very interesting.
Yeah, and this card in particular, this is like the best matchups that I've seen in a while. I mean, the last one they had in Florida was pretty good too, but this one's even a little bit more exciting. It's going to be.
Oh, it is. And I saw even Angan posted a thing. Where would he want to have it next if it was in North America? And if it happens in Vegas,
That'll be fun.
that'll be neat. Yeah, that'll be really cool.
Yeah.
I think that'd be huge.
You think you would pull an East versus West qualifier?
Would I?
The East Coast or West Coast, sorry.
Oh, 100%. Anything California, Arizona, I'll do it.
What about that tournament you were talking about, the World Series of Arm Wrestling? They have a $2,500 payday, but I think it's a 76 class.
Yeah.
That's a 176 down. Is their lightweight class, but
I would want to get to 170. I mean, at least 165.
yeah,
And it will, what I'm doing now, everything.
it pays
Go
to
ahead.
eighth place.
Yeah, places all the way down to 8th. It's
Wow.
$2,500 right and left-handed. It's not till November.
I think I could sneak in 8th place.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
not just that, it's going to be on Tubi.
Yeah, to be on TV actually.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the first season was on Tubi. I guess they filmed the second season already, and I
Second
think
season's done.
this third year, this will be the third season, these events. So
Nice.
on Tubi,
Yeah, man. I've always wanted to be on Tubi.
And here's the crazy thing again, even at 176 and you walking in at 165, I think with the right cadence, you could probably walk out in top 5.
165, I'm nasty. Nasty at 165. I feel very good there. Better than I did the other day.
And again, sometimes you get too heavy, you start getting a little sloppy, you lose that speed.
Yeah. No, I was really happy with the Vazgen match, man. I felt mentally clear, sharp. I felt fast. I felt like I could adjust. There's sometimes, and obviously this is a newer guy issue coming in. When you surge and something stops, you get the tunnel vision. You start to get a little worked up and panicky. But yesterday, I mean, there's no panic. Everything felt smooth, really good, and that was a great match. And I think a best of 5 would have been great.
Yeah, no, that'd be a good setup too. Best of 5 between you two.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
I'm sure he wants to get his revenge now. Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely. And I want to get my revenge on David. Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess Scott might have to get you out to LA and do some magic, maybe David and you have a match.
Because Scott, you probably agree with me. I think David would shake things up in the 154 North American. If he would have went to that round robin,
oh yeah, no doubt.
He would have beaten a lot of people.
No doubt. Yeah,
no, a lot.
He's a little beast. There's no doubt about it. He's definitely
incredible.
Reckoned with.
He is.
Yeah.
And another guy's Roman Gromov. My lord.
Yep.
I still think him and Hunter be a good match at 154. I still think that could go either way. Watching the end of that round robin, there's some things
Roman's got one of the best top rolls.
incredible.
Yeah, period. Yeah,
he's tall for the class too.
I would say Roman would beat Hunter. Just my opinion.
Yeah, if I were to bet on that match, I definitely think I would lean towards Roman.
Yeah, I think he got gypped out of that win at the round robin, but that created a landslide for Hunter, and Hunter went full steam ahead and has been shutting people up.
Hunter's been doing some stuff. He's put on some weight quick. So, I mean,
I think, what's he at? 180? 175-ish?
Definitely getting up there, Bubba. I don't know what his weight is exactly, but I can tell you this much. For you to put on that much weight that quick, you're doing some magical things.
But you know what, man?
Shoulders on him, man.
Oh, yeah, Hunter's, and how old is he? 26, 27?
He's definitely younger.
Yeah, I think he's mid-20s. But more power to you. If that's something you want to do, I know we were going to talk about the sauce a little bit. If that's something you want to do and you feel comfortable doing it, I honestly could care less. I mean,
do you think it makes a big difference?
Oh, absolutely. It makes a huge difference. But what are you willing to sacrifice?
Yeah, how much sauce you willing to do? Yeah.
There should be, if arm wrestling gets bigger, it'd be neat to have a drug tested league and a non-tested league or test. So I mean, it was the same with powerlifting. I competed in WAL or WP. Can't even talk right now. I'm having an aneurysm. But I competed in USAPL. I competed in drug tested powerlifting for 10 years, and there was undrug tested as well. So it was a bigger sport down here. But I think if you can get the two, there's really no shame in doing either one. It's just what you're willing to do.
Yeah, and without the knowledge, the juice isn't going to help you much. I mean, there's only, a very small percentage of power guys that can win without knowing technique.
Yeah.
And the other thing is you're willing to sacrifice injury. When the more juice you do, I think the more susceptible you are to injuries, in my opinion.
It weakens the bones. It does a number on the tendons as well. So I mean, there's pros and cons to it for sure. Strength is never a negative. If you're doing it right, you're doing it smart, you're being safe about it, and you're not overdoing it, it could help for longevity, especially when you're older. I know peptides and all that stuff's a huge thing people are doing, but when you're younger,
I'd be interested to see a professional rock climber with stupid tendon strength and grip strength go on a crazy cycle and gain 20 pounds of straight muscle, because I knew Jay Cutler's doctor, for example, and his doctor said that the strongest individuals already have the tendon power, the tendon strength, and then they supplement. When you add the supplementation on top of the tendon power, it's ridiculous. And typically people that don't have the tendon power and they supplement, they end up with the tendon injuries because the muscles get stronger than the tendons.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Take a rock climber that's like a pro rock climber with some crazy grip strength, give him a crazy cycle, train him in arm wrestling for 5 years, and you would probably change the landscape of the sport.
Absolutely. Or you take somebody who's been consistently competing naturally in arm wrestling for X amount of years, put them on some sauce. They got the technique, they got everything down, the tendon strength, fundamentals, and then you just enhance their strength now. And I think that's dangerous. That's what's happening to a lot of guys, but more power to them.
That's the name of the game, Bubba.
That's it.
I just don't understand why a person would be willing to spend $800 to $1,000 on some of the expensive compounds to go win $300. That's the part that doesn't make sense to me.
Exactly. I think in my own opinion, if you were going to do that realm of stuff, you go to a doctor, you get tested, do some T. If you need testosterone, if you genuinely need it, take it. I mean, it's just going to enhance your life and make it better. Get it prescribed, be safe, get your blood work done. As far as tren, all that other body
heavier compounds, yeah.
I personally wouldn't do it. I wouldn't. I mean, I want to have a family one day and live to see my kids grow up. I don't feel like having a heart attack in my 30s. It's scary stuff, and it's a huge possibility.
Yeah.
But again, what are you willing to risk? That's it.
A lot of times short-term goals outweigh the long-term goals, Bubba. That's the downside of athletics, and
Yeah.
it's crazy. I've seen a lot of guys that go on really, really heavy, compounds. They almost fully bald in a 2 to 5 year period, bro. Like they're losing.
And they're mid-20s,
Yeah.
even early 20s.
Exactly.
Like most of the pro bodybuilder guys started like 19, 20 years old, running Tren, Winstrol, some heavy duty stuff. And then
It's nasty, bro. It's like milk, and you got to use like a 17 gauge needle. It's like a giant fucking needle. It's like that.
it is. I think it's filtered through your lungs too, Winstrol.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Insane. Yeah. So,
Joseph, it was good having you on, Bubba, and I'm really excited
man.
to see how you perform over this next year too. I would love to see you get a match against a European. That would be like my out. Actually, first, I'd like to see you have a super match against David and prove that you have the ability to beat him, because I think that under the right circumstances, with a little bit of preparation specifically for him, you would be able to give him a really good match.
I would love to. And David and I still talk. He's an awesome dude. That's a win I definitely want to get back. And I think stylistically it'll be a great, great match. And he even said after, if I'm remembering correctly, he's like, you and I would be a better super match. I'm like, okay. Those tournaments are long days, not eating much, the adrenaline spikes up and down. I'm not trying to make excuses, but it wears on you. And by the time 11 hours passes and it's time for a super match after pulling all day, you ain't feeling too good.
No.
So David, man, whenever you want it, you're ready. I'd love to have a match with you. I think that'd be fun.
Well, congratulations on your victories on
Thank you, man.
Baskin again. I'm sure he's taking note on that,
Yeah.
I'm sure he's
I think I
like,
shocked him a little bit.
Yeah, a little inspiration for him,
Yeah.
He's gonna have to go back to the drawing board, and for you, go on to bigger and greater things, Bubba.
Let's keep
Yeah,
up.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Till next time, guys. Take it easy, bro.
See you, man. Thank you,
Yeah.
guys.
Start like this position and you do only house.
I tried the gym, the second season of the Game of Arms.
First of all, you must understand that arm wrestling is not only power.
The weight for 3-4 seconds, but when I do one max rep, I just do it just to pull it off the ground.
Like weight, some movement, some speed work.
And that's like you were saying, Rez, I really need to work on my endurance, and that's my plan to do that for Pablo.
And then after that, it's gym. It's gym 5 days a week.
It'd be
I feel
interesting to see how you do against him, because if you can beat him, then you might be able to bang with the European.
Another guy I think is very underrated, Tom Holland. The dude is a fucking beast.
I know for me, side pressure, as soon as, like you said, as soon as you stop feeling like that pain or feeling like this is too much for my arm to handle, as soon as I get past that point, that's when I get all my confidence.
If you were to have Tim Bresnan's rankings, who would be the top 5 in the world?
I'm hated enough.
Them punches look pretty damn real. No, that was real.
Too, the thickness of your palm. Like, you ever grab a guy whose palm is so thick that you feel like you're being swallowed, but his fingers aren't that long?
I pulled in Pennsylvania. I did horrible. I just came up with COVID.
My hook's pretty good when I shoot for it first. I don't really want to lose on AMC show. I mean, I didn't stick a needle in my ass or nothing. I wasn't worried about losing like that.
All I'm saying is that if you invert your hand, it is so much easier to make a fifth.
Travis, table IQ, table setup, getting what he wants in the setup. Travis is smarter than me. I'm not going to fucking lie. He's tenfold smarter than me at getting what he wants when he steps up to that table, right? So I think that alone is going to put Derek in deep waters right off the beginning. Whether or not Travis is actually training again, he says he is, but the man spews more fucking shit out of him than the fucking canals in India, right?